My fiancé said it was a girls' trip, but I found something in her bag and met her coworker. I was helping my fiancé Marissa pack for her girls' trip to Cancun when I found a fresh box of condoms in the side pocket of her suitcase. We don't use condoms because she has an IUD, so my hands went still. She called from the shower and told me to grab her charger from the suitcase. I slid her sunglasses aside, saw the box, and set the charger on top like nothing happened. After she went to dry her hair, I checked her friends' pages. Jenna was posting about a nephew's birthday and a cram session for exams. Tori was complaining about a late shift and a broken printer. None of them were packing. None mentioned beaches, and no one said a word about Cancun. That night she said the resort Wi-Fi might be bad and told me not to freak out if she could not text. I asked which resort it was. She said Jenna booked it, something with a Spanish name, and she'd text me after they landed. Then I asked about the condoms. She rolled her eyes and said, "They're for Jenna." She said Jenna was meeting some guy and she was being a good friend. I smiled and said, "Sure, have fun." I wasn't dropping it. My cousin is a flight attendant. I gave her Marissa's name and the date and asked if she could check a passenger list. She called back later and said Marissa was on the 10 a.m. flight to Cancun, but she wasn't alone. She was booked with a man named Derek Chen, the coworker who called himself her mentor. I decided if she thought I was dramatic, I'd be dramatic. I opened the airline app with the confirmation number she had sent when she bragged about a cheap fare. I changed her seat from 14A to 32E, the middle seat in the back of the plane. It cost $50 and felt worth every cent. Then I bought myself a ticket on the same flight and picked 14C, the aisle across from Derek. Next, I called resorts in Cancun and asked for bookings under her name and his. After a few calls, I found it. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, honeymoon suite, champagne on ice, couples massage. I told the front desk to update the name to her actual name and add a cake note with a short message. Congratulations on ending our engagement. Then I sent an anonymous tip to a station that filmed spring break arrivals and said a messy scene might happen on the 1 p.m. flight. In the morning, she kissed me at the door and told me not to miss her too much. I told her I'd try and watched her rideshare roll away. 10 minutes later, I grabbed my bag and headed to the airport too. I cleared security, walked to the gate, and saw Marissa with Derek. They were close, laughing, and she touched his arm. She handed her pass to the agent and frowned when the agent pointed at the screen. "Sorry, you're in 32E, the agent said. Marissa looked at Derek and said she was supposed to sit with him. "Sorry, full flight, the agent said. She walked down the jet bridge with a tight jaw. I boarded last. I took my seat across from Derek. He glanced up, saw me, and his face went blank. "Crazy coincidence," I said. "Cancun, huh?" He looked out the window. A woman next to me leaned over and whispered, "Do you know him?" I said, "He works with my fiancé." I said, "I changed her seat." The wheels touched the runway and he stood before the chime. He tried to rush off, but there was nowhere to go. At the gate, I stayed behind him by one row and followed onto the jet bridge. At the top, the noise hit. People were cheering about spring break. A camera crew stood with bright lights and a long mic. I had called them, so I walked into the light. Heads turned toward us all around. Someone near the rail gasped and covered their mouth. The light was hot and the floor hummed. Marissa came up the ramp from the back and saw me. Her eyes went wide. "What are you doing here?" she said. "Work trip," I said. "How are the girls?" She glanced at the camera. She tried to pull me aside. I stood still. I raised my voice for the mic. "This isn't a girls' trip. It's a trip with your coworker." She froze. Derek hovered 2 steps behind her, color gone from his face. "Tell them," I said. "Who booked the room? Who is Mr. and Mrs. Chen? Say it clearly." She whispered, "Not here." I said, "Here is fine." She stared at me, then at the camera, and something snapped. A tourist in a straw hat stopped and stared. A kid raised a phone and aimed it at us. The reporter lifted the mic closer. My chest thumped hard in my ears. Marissa's hand shook on her suitcase handle. "Fine," she said. "I'm with Derek. You're safe and predictable, and I want excitement." The crowd went quiet. I let the silence hang. Then I nodded. "Thanks for your honesty," I said. "We're done." I slid the ring off, set it in her open palm, and stepped back. She reached out and said my name. I turned and walked toward the exit while a guard moved between us. Now people are saying I went too far switching her seat. Was I wrong?